After hearing me out, Julian said coldly, "David has already briefed me. Joshua, this behavior is extremely irresponsible. You're fired." I was stunned. My phone slipped from my hand. Fired? Just because of some words from Talia, all my effort and professional judgment were dismissed? I never imagined that David and Julian would ignore my data analysis and blindly trust Talia instead. Richard had worked his entire life providing for his family. He had always treated me especially well. I absolutely couldn't let him die in a sea of fire. And this wasn't just about him. This involved more than 100 lives in Bearyard Village. There was no time to waste. I forced myself to calm down and called Richard. "Grandpa, Canlis Mountain, the one next to Bearyard Village, is going to erupt tonight. It's very dangerous. Please contact the village chief and arrange an evacuation immediately." Richard sounded shocked. "What? Canlis Mountain is going to erupt? That can't be right, can it?" I replied patiently. "It's true, Grandpa. Trust my professional judgment. Go find the village chief right now and get everyone to evacuate." He agreed, but I still couldn't shake the unease in my chest. 5 hours later, the taxi pulled into Bearyard Village. The villagers were working the fields as usual. Not a single person was evacuating. Heart pounding, I rushed to find Richard and the village chief, Vincent Donovan. To my disbelief, the two of them were casually drinking at the village committee office. I stormed in and demanded, "Grandpa, why haven't you all started evacuating? I told you the volcano would erupt tonight. It's already afternoon." Richard put down his glass, shot me a sideways glance, and said with disdain, "Evacuate? What for? Stop spouting nonsense here. Talia called me and said you're lying and using this to scare us." Vincent snorted beside him. "Joshua, you shouldn't act like this. Just because you're jealous of Adam, you make jokes about something like this? You could have made the villagers panic and disrupted everything. Do you know how much manpower and money it takes to evacuate everyone? What you've done isn't right." Just like Julian and David, they didn't believe me either. I was about to explain when Richard suddenly lifted his foot and kicked me hard in the calf. Pain shot through me, and I nearly fell. Pointing at me, he thundered, "Get lost! Stop embarrassing me here!" I clenched my teeth, forcing myself to endure the pain in my leg, and tried once more to convince them. "Grandpa, Mr. Donovan, I'm not lying. Canlis Mountain really is going to erupt tonight. I work at the Volcano Research Institute. I've run the numbers myself. The eruption will start at midnight. I'm estimating at least level 3, and it could reach level 4. Vincent hesitated when he heard how specific I was. Richard uttered, "Talia studies volcanoes too. She said it won't erupt. Would my granddaughter lie to me? You don't want her to go to the hospital with Adam, so you made up this nonsense. Canlis Mountain has been dormant for thousands of years. What makes you think it's going to erupt?" I took a deep breath, then dropped to my knees in front of Vincent. My voice shook as I said, "Mr. Donovan, I've loved nature documentaries since I was a kid. I studied geology in college, and upon graduation, I joined the Volcano Research Institute. I'm 30 years old, and I've spent more than 20 years studying volcanoes. I know what I'm talking about. I'd never be wrong about this. If the volcano doesn't erupt tonight, I'll answer for it." Vincent frowned, clearly wavering, but Richard let out a cold laugh. "I know you've just been